Everybody to Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean. Carolyn is amazing. She's a doctor, she's a naturopath, she's an herbalist, she's an acupuncturist. She's going to tell you exactly what she would do if she were in your shoes. I can't think of a person who has devoted more time to helping people's health than Dr. Carolyn Dean. She can make a huge difference as you listen to her words of wisdom. We know she's ahead of time because she is the doctor of the future. Welcome, Dr. Carolyn Dean.
Hi. Hi. Hello. Ginny.
Oh, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing just fine. I can't help myself from doing fine. I'm so blessed. Even though I realize there's horrible things going on in the world, it just motivates me to do better, fine things to try to balance out the horror. That's the way I look at it.
I think that's a great strategy. I like that. I think there are, a lot of challenging things in the world, but we talk practically every week about how you make your own bliss, and you can choose your own thoughts, even about things that you don't prefer, and to continue to do what you're doing, which is try to be happy in spite of the things that you wish weren't happening. But I don't think I've lived a day in my life where there wasn't something that I could be critical of.
Mm-hmm.
Or find wrong with or what have you. But it's better to just focus on all the things going right.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So here's what happened. I had to steal Bob's mineral bottle. He doesn't know it yet. He'll hear it in 30 seconds as he's listening to this. So Rachel, can we go to the hack for today? Because what we're hearing on me and Julie on our hotel walk and at the Tuesday market and the Saturday food, whatever farm store, is the taste of the minerals is bothering people.
Okay.
And what I do is I'll put a combination of this, and I am not sponsored by either of these companies, just so you know. I put some Zevia, half Zevia and half Pellegrino for the fizz and the sizz. I put those two along with an ounce of fresh lemon juice, and that's our kind of drink. So I'll take that drink, and in a bigger glass than this, I'll put a third of it as water, a third of it is of that drink, the fizzy drink, and a third of my minerals. And the minerals I make up in these, big ball mason jars. And this is pretty concentrated right now, but the color is from our vitamin C berry powder. And in it, I think I have about 6 or 7 different minerals that then we drink through the day in our Zevia Pellegrino drink. So that's how you get a really good tasting mineral combination. And of course, Julie told me you have to add ice, which makes all the difference. Add ice, and then you can take your minerals and be pleasantly surprised. So there.
Okay, so I want to confirm I understand. I'm taking Pellegrino and Zevia, and I'm doing half and half with that. And then I'm putting in some lemon juice.
Right.
Okay, and that's my base, which makes my drink to then add the minerals.
Right. I mean, that's a nice drink to drink through the day. You can just drink mineral water with sea salt. Actually, the water I use does have sea salt in it. But yeah, that's a really tasty drink to then cut the the strong mineral taste of your minerals.
Okay.
Because, Ginny, that's the main complaint. I have people who are, bent over with arthritis, and they won't take the magnesium because it tastes too strong. It's like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I think, and everybody has to find their way. And I think that's wonderful. It's ironic because I have also started using lemon juice, but carbonated water as a base, and I like it. It's tart, but it suits me.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would suit everybody, but that's great. Okay, very good. Where's the metal bottle? You said you had Bob's metal bottle. Oh,
No, minerals.
mineral bottle.
Bob's mineral bottle.
Very
Yeah.
good. Okay.
And yes, I do carry I didn't bring it up here, but I do carry a water bottle, best water bottle I've ever had. There's a vendor at the Tuesday market. He's an artist, and he paints these pictures of turtles and water and sand, and then he slaps them on a water bottle for pizza. Well, he has someone do it.
Wow.
So, it's what we want. It's metal insides. It keeps the water cold, etc. If you want cold water, and it has a handle. I'll have to show it one of these days.
Very nice. Okay.
That's another hack.
Excellent.
As
Excellent.
is my flower. And Ginny said, oh, we need to know where people can get, you can put them in your hair, or I usually just stick it on my clothes. But this is a young woman, a vendor at the Tuesday market. And she's a former foster child who supports foster children, and she's awesome. So I want to support her.
That's
so
great.
I'll get that website for next week.
Very good. Very good. We have to start buying Christmas presents, or I do. I'm compulsive that way. So Christmas is coming. Okay. Michelle says she adds a teaspoon of organic cranberry juice to her mineral water, and that gives it a lovely flavor.
Oh, good. Yes.
Wonderful.
And ice cubes. Do people find that the ice helps? Because it made a big difference for me. It was quite interesting, actually.
Yeah, I love ice.
Right.
Yeah, I use it.
Okay. We're okay. So that was one thing I had to get done, and I don't know if Bob wants to come up. I'll put his mineral water on the side here if he wants to sneak in to get it in the middle of production. I'm up in my studio, but I had another mini rant. Okay, here's what I came to. We know that natural health information and dietary supplements have become very commercialized, and it's just so difficult to find a trusted source. So here's what I suggest. If you don't see magnesium mentioned as the first or one of the first treatments for most diseases, then the person doesn't know what they're talking about. Seriously, they just don't know, because if you want to find a list of diseases that can be affected by magnesium deficiency, go to Magnesium, the Missing Link to Total Health. So if you see someone, because there's so many podcasters now that go on about this, that, and the other thing. Oh, we have the cure for senility, or heaven forbid. Did you notice that Jeff Bezos' mother died of dementia? Now, it was Lewy body dementia, which is, I guess, pretty extreme. But here's this gazillionaire who can't afford, there's no money to make his mother better.
Yeah.
And it's just incredible to me. I'm not saying I could have, but there are so many people with dementia, symptoms of Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, that may be related to toxic metals and not enough normal minerals. If you don't have enough normal minerals kind of populating your, let's say, mineral receptor sites. I don't know if such a thing exists, but there are calcium channels and sodium channels and all the rest. If you don't have minerals where they're supposed to be, heavy metals will take their place.
Yes.
And then if you take your minerals, you will bump out the heavy metals. I mean, it's really simple, I guess, biodynamics. But you look at this list of acid reflux and adrenal fatigue and asthma and angina, anxiety and panic disorders, arthritis, atherosclerosis, atrial fibrillation. That's just the A's. I've got about 68 conditions here where it could be magnesium deficiency, and it's being treated with drugs because they think it's a disease.
Yeah.
So that's my mini rant. If you don't see magnesium mentioned as the first of or one of the first treatments for most diseases, then the person doesn't know what they're talking about. They've sort of gone past the fact that, well, yeah, we know magnesium is important, but it causes the laxative effect. And that's where you come to us, because we have the only worldwide, only non-laxative stabilized ion of magnesium and the other minerals. It's a process that no one else has. And we can't say that enough. And we don't have the $10 million to do a PR on it. And the FDA would come after us because we're acting like magnesium can cure things. So it's all kind of underground and depending on word of mouth, actually. We do I don't know if we're still on Facebook doing ads and whatnot, but it's
Oh gosh, yeah.
pardon me?
Oh yeah, we are.
Yeah. We have to be relegated to doing lifestyle ads. We cannot say we can help you with your diseases. And that's how bad it is. So, third time is a charm. If you don't see magnesium mentioned as the first or one of the first treatments for most diseases, then the person doesn't know what they're talking about. What do you think of that, Ginny?
I think it's strong and accurate. So I
Mhm.
love it. I
Yeah.
love it. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good.
So, any questions before? Well, we're talking about exposing sugar toxicity. That's our book of the week. We're going to be talking about this sugar book trilogy for the next several weeks. But any questions come up in the meantime, Ginny?
No, everybody's just talking about Robin likes the sea salt and things of that nature. Mostly just agreeing with you that the minerals are fantastic and you have to take them in water and you have to find a way to make them palatable.
Yeah, that's right. And what we do usually with the book we're emphasizing is write a blog about it. And the blog this week is just it's an overview of the sugar book. Um, I've been talking about sugar since the early 1990s, and I was speaking publicly about the dangers of sugar consumption. And I've published nearly 100 books since then. So why did it take me 30 years to get to the sugar book of today? Because I was writing it back in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s. So what happened was I put it on the back burner when a sugar lobby group complained to my licensing board that I was saying bad things about sugar on national TV in Canada. And that was the Deanie Petty show on Canadian, probably CBC or something. The result was an underhanded attack by my Ontario licensing board several years after I left Canada to do AIDS research in New York. It seems that all they wanted to do was publicly criticize me and put my case in the Ontario Doctors Quarterly Bulletin to serve as a warning to others who might have the nerve to warn their patients about the health threats of sugar. Now, many people don't know that story, except if you've read my book, Death by Modern Medicine. I talk about that and talk about how doctors, I mean, you saw it during the COVID years, all the doctors who were doxed doxxed and lost their licenses, attacked unmercifully because they were asking questions about COVID and the aftermath. So yeah, sugar was my entry into into being vehemently attacked. And like I said, I wasn't living in Ontario. I no longer had an Ontario license, but they pretended to take away a non-existent license just to make their point. I kept my California license, which I had actually, I don't know if I've told you this, Jenny, but the Ontario Licensing Board wrote to California when they found I had a California license and told them, well, you should take that license away. But I went to California. I was living in Manhattan, went to California, described my case, and they said, my gosh, there's so much abuse in the case that they made against you and all the procedural problems, etc. So I kept my California license, which I still have, which I don't use, but I use as a way to keep my continuing medical education credits. I'm forced to do the CME credits to get my license, and it keeps me up to date on the horrors of modern medicine. So anyway, excuse me. Back to the blog. Now, I don't usually talk or say all the words in the blog because you can read it at drcarolyndean.com. But I talk about, the dangers of sugar. Doctors don't, excuse me, talk about. Now, this is interesting, having a clog in my throat right now. This is a total biology effect. I don't usually talk about my case. It's a horrible thing that happened to me. So it catches in my throat. So when things like that happen to you, just say, oh my gosh, what's going on? When we would have total biology, German new medicine lectures, if someone started coughing in the class, the teacher would say, now, what was in my lecture that triggered you to have a cough? So everything is, relational. There are relationships between what's going on in your environment and how you react. So anyway, just finishing up about the sugar blog at drcarolyndean.com. Sugar is addictive. It's a gateway drug for other addictions. And what I am going to write in my new vitamin C book, which Ginny has urged me to write, I'm at about 60 pages, Ginny. So I'm writing the vitamin C book because vitamin C is being bumped out of your cells by a high sugar diet. And that is really important to know. When you eat or drink something with sugar, insulin comes out to carry that sugar to your cells, to get rid of it, basically, to put it to work. And vitamin C and glucose are so similar that vitamin C is also carried on insulin to bring it into the cells to act as an antioxidant for the metabolism of sugar. So if you don't have, if you have vitamin C deficiency, you have more sugar than vitamin C, sugar is not going to be able to protect you from the damage caused by the waste products of sugar metabolism. I know it sounds a bit complex, so I'll make it more clear in the book. So the other thing about vitamin C, if you don't have enough, it diminishes the production of collagen, which leads to heart disease. You don't have enough collagen protecting your blood vessels, then they can split a bit and develop atherosclerosis, have cholesterol band-aiding them, calcium precipitating into the cholesterol. There's your cholesterol plaques, vitamin C deficiency. You don't have enough magnesium to make the elastin in your arteries, then it will lead to that damage as well. And then excess sugar in the cells will build up as sorbitol. It's sort of metabolized into a type of sugar called sorbitol, which is too big to leave the cell, and it can build up and kill the cell, causing neuropathy, etc. So that's sugar with a lot of sidebars. Back to you, Ginny.
Well, my first point of enthusiasm is I'm thrilled that you're writing a vitamin C book. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
And people are asking a question, and Mary's asking a very good question. She says, first of all, she says, you look awesome, which we all agree about. But she says, why do you think folks cannot change their sugar addiction, especially in families where one person can stop and adopt to alternatives and another person can't? How would you best navigate this issue without conflict?
Right. I think the sugar addiction for many people is the yeast overgrowth problem.
Mm.
So when the Borg of your yeast, if you know Star Trek, the Borg, that was a colony or even a civilization, and they all had the same mind. And this Borg thought of yeast is give me sugar,
Mm.
and they will give you the sense of craving sugar. So I personally found when I started to work with my antifungal, the Saccharomyces, humic fulvic, what else is in there? Inulin.
Yeah.
With that product, along with Pico Silver, that I not only reduced my load of yeast. You cannot kill it all off. You need some of that yeast in your large intestine, but you don't need it in your small intestine. So when I went on a daily yeast treatment, I lost my craving. I still like some fruit every day. I can't help that, but I don't go for sweets as much. So anyway, I think it's yeast overgrowth, and that would mean that the people who crave sugar may have yeast overgrowth. You asked the question, have you been on antibiotics? It doesn't even mean last year. It could be 10 years ago that you could throw off your microbiome. Do you crave sugar? Are you irritated in moldy places? Have you been on the birth control pill? Have you been pregnant? There's 7 questions again that that's in my yeast book, Reset the Yeast Connection. And it'll probably be in the sugar book. Don't you think, Ginny? I'll talk about that in the sugar book, the second one.
I believe so. Oh, absolutely. In the second book that's coming out.
So if you have someone who has that profile, then you put them on our yeast protocol. I was going to say the names of the formulas, but we're still trying to beat out the FDA from attacking us about saying that our formulas can help people. So there's that craving. There's also I'm doing a diabetes lecture here in Maui in another week and a half, and sugar for some people is a substitute for love and attention. I'll eat sugar so I'll feel happy. I'll get the whatever the dopamine, serotonin, the GABA, whatever sugar does for a person. But you can train yourself to look for hugs instead of looking for sugar. So there are several ways to look at it. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I'm sure that our customer experience people can add a few more things, and you can have a little dialogue about it.
Very good. Excellent. I think those were great answers. I've never heard it as a substitute for love before, but that sounds great. Yeah. Angela, in a separate topic, says, I find that we might rust my metal bottle, but I keep cleaning and using it. Do you think that it might be bad to drink all that rust?
Well, we'll have to look. We don't have iron in our formulas. We'll have to ask our chemist about that. It could mean that your metal bottle is aluminum instead of metal, because my metal bottle doesn't get affected.
Yeah.
So
it's a cheaper form of stainless steel, maybe, that's not really stainless.
Yeah.
use the minerals, you really need to use a stainless steel insert, sometimes with a sealer on it. And
Mhm.
so if it's a less expensive form, it might not be as durable. I would not use it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right, right.
I do it.
Interesting.
Here's a question. Oh, we don't have there's a statement more than the question. So let me get that cleaned up and come back around. Michelle says, sugar is a drug for sure. When I eat chocolate chip cookies, my preferred poison, it makes me sick. However, I go back for more. Unbelievable, she says.
Well, what I used to do when I got back on sugar, because I did avoid it for 10 years to see if I could get rid of my yeast. I didn't until I made my formulas. I would take an extra dose of vitamin C after eating sugar. And maybe sugar isn't bothering me so much now because I take so much vitamin C. And even I'm noticing even the tiny little capillaries in my legs, mini old hateful little mini varicose vein type things. They seem to be receding with my extra vitamin C, which is what they should be doing because it's making more collagen that makes those blood vessels stronger.
Very good.
Yeah.
Excellent. 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 Margaret Lee is here with us this evening and says, hello.
Hi, Margaret Lee.
Hello. Love to Margaret Lee. Hearts being transmitted across the universe. Super Dougie says, is it okay to add an additional anti-candida prep along with Dr. Dean's some of the renatured caprylic acid formulas, Carolyn?
Caprylic acid is safe enough. That was one of the many things I rotated, but it's not contraindicated. If what I would do is just take more of the real, what is it? Flora product.
5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
would just take more of that first. We had a question a few weeks ago, and I told someone to take more Flora Revive, and they did, and they said, okay, that fixed it.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that you might do because you can get in. And I think Super Dougie did talk a few weeks ago about something about yeast. So it may just be more of our stuff because our stuff is so perfect.
We did caprylic acid for a long time, didn't we, Carolyn? We worked with Whole Approach in Canada.
Yes.
Relied exclusively on their products for, and they had a great caprylic acid product. It was very high quality, but it didn't, if that would have worked, if that system would have worked with the caprylic acid and bentonite clay and all the things that we did back then, it would have never gone on and done Flora Revive and the other things that we ended up doing. So, it's an investment. It's an expensive product. My kind of remembrance of it because it needs a lot of processing. But
Right.
think about that too.
Right. I think the Pico silver makes a big difference. Part of the thing with our silver is it neutralizes the toxins that are released when you start killing off the yeast. So you don't get the Herxheimer effect, which is what makes you feel like, all bleary and foggy and everything when you're starting to cut into your yeast, which is what some people can feel when they go on a diet or fasting. It's a lot of toxins that build up, and the silver, our silver especially, will nullify that reaction to a large extent.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Great questions tonight. Thanks everybody for participating. We shall press on. Dr. Dean, what shall we talk about next?
The MAHA agenda is next, Rachel. So what I do is just discuss how the MAHA agenda is coming along, make America healthy again. I'm peripherally involved with it because my charity, parageniusfoundation.org, we're supporting another foundation, the Vital Choice Project, along with Mike Tyson's foundation. I guess it's the Mike Tyson Foundation. His very handsome son runs it. And the three of us, and probably more people as we go along, are supporting the education of pre-med students so that when they go into medical school, they're not so overwhelmed. They know there are alternatives. So that's where I'm involved with MAHA, but not directly. I have no plan to attend any meetings about MAHA because I just run my own. I run my own show, and what I noticed was things like Medscape report. It says something about when the dream becomes a burden. Medscape Medical School Stressors report. And this is part of what I'm talking about, the pre-med students, trying to make them solid in their natural health tendencies, because in a Medscape survey, medical students reported the many stressors they face throughout their 4 years of medical school, from doubt about their abilities, sliding into imposter syndrome, to fear of complex cases, dealing with death, and delivering bad news. Surviving and thriving in medical school is not without significant challenges. For many, the dream of becoming a competent doctor drives them through a culture of perfection, stress, and potential burnout. And, they don't mention anything about having to deal with the drug culture, or that people are looking for more natural resources. So that's fascinating. And then there's another report, Medscape or Med Reports. A group is talking about pushing back on RFK Jr.'s doubts about the day one of birth hepatitis B vaccine for infants. So this group of public health leaders are looking at the new advisory committee on immunization practices that RFK Jr. put forth. They're trying to keep the newborn hepatitis dose. So that's an interesting debate that's going on right now. We've had a few babies born around us in the company and up here in Maui. And, they really want these day one babies to have the shot. And when you talk about it, it's because there's a small percentage of mothers who have hepatitis B. It's either sexually transmitted or by intravenous drug use. And to think that a little baby could be exposed to it, from birth. I mean, they're talking about a bad home environment, etc. But man, they could be testing mothers for hepatitis to see whether or not the baby would be exposed. Not inject everybody. I don't know the whole story, but that's sort of my initial thoughts about this discussion about Hep B shots at birth. And then, they're talking about, just plain dumping RFK Jr.'s, his whole approach. They're saying they want to keep access to vaccines. They don't want scientific misinformation, which they say RFK promotes. And they want to reduce gun violence. So the big fight, there is such a big fight going on with MAHA. And that's probably why I say I'm not really involved with MAHA. I'm helping pre-med students learn about nutrition. Right, Ginny?
Correct, Amundo. Everybody has to pick their battles. Making America healthy again, 330 million people, is a big topic.
Yeah.
And we have to do what's best for us and for you and our belief system and our company and everything else like that. And getting people launched on the right step. Mm-hmm. I was just talking to Rachel today, our producer, and she's working to complete her naturopathic degree from Know Your Wellness, which you were so kind to sponsor her into and pay her tuition so that she could become knowledgeable in these things. And Rachel's already writing books about her experience and promoting the ideas around naturopathy and those kinds of things. This is what we want. We want the world to be flooded with goodness, flooded with the knowledge of nature, and inspired about how our bodies and their intelligent design are compatible with the things that we've provided and others provide, but they're not as good as ours. So yeah, absolutely. That's our Make America Healthy thing. And when we intersect with that, we are going to dance the happy dance.
Right. And how can people connect with Rachel's, her songs, her books, her everything?
I will have Rachel type it into the chat because Rachel is voluminous. She has so many places. I don't even know anymore. It's impossible. But she will let us know, and then we can connect with. Oh, wait a minute. reverendlove.org. Yeah. reverendlove.org is the way to do it. Very good.
Right.
Now, Margaret is asking a question. Margaret, shoot me that email and I'll send it to Carolyn. That's a little much for the show. Okay. All right. Let's see. What's next?
Questions and comments. So we're getting some nice questions that come in before the show, I guess it was. Yes. To our customer experience. Sarah sent this along. This question is for Dr. Dean. There's a doctor on YouTube who is advising that people need to take multiple forms of magnesium. Of course, he has a product that contains multiple forms of magnesium. I would like your thoughts on this. Does REMAG cover all magnesium needs in the body? Thank you. And this is from Lucinda. So this is the marketing ploy about magnesium, because you can take any little bit of magnesium and it's going to help you because you need so much of it and so much of your body needs it. 80% of known metabolic functions require it, 600 to 800 different enzyme processes, more than the 300 that they talk about. So if you take any little bit of magnesium, it's going to help. But they have to market to compete with all the different forms of magnesium out there. And they, oh yeah, take all these 12. There's one that has 12 now. Now, what's happening there is they're not talking about elemental magnesium. They'll have like the magnesium L-threonate. They'll say on the front of the bottle, 2,000 milligrams of magnesium L-threonate. But then when you look on the back, it says the elemental form, you have to take, I think, 3 capsules to get 140 milligrams of magnesium. Now, I needed 1,200 milligrams when I was going through my heart palpitations. And anything other than my REMAG would give me the laxative effect. So what happens with these magnesium compounds that they say, oh, you need all these 12 compounds? And I put this in the Magnesium Miracle book, and I excerpted here just to discuss it. A magnesium salt, which is a magnesium compound like a magnesium oxide, magnesium carbonate, etc., the amount of elemental magnesium per 500 milligrams of a salt. So magnesium oxide, 500 milligrams, you get 300 milligrams of elemental magnesium. And it makes you think, oh my gosh, that's a lot. That's cool. But then it's not absorbed and it causes the laxative effect. Magnesium carbonate, 150 milligrams out of 500. Magnesium hydroxide, 144 out of 500. Dimagnesium malate, 95 out of 500. Dolomite, 75. Magnesium citrate, 75. Magnesium malate, 75. 75, less than 20% of the whole 500 milligrams is your elemental magnesium, which is what you want. Malate, 75. Chloride, 60. Magnesium lactate, 60. Magnesium sulfate, 50. Magnesium taurate, 50. Magnesium L-threonate, 34, magnesium orotate 30, magnesium gluconate 25. So if you see all this and say, oh, it's got gluconate, oh, 25 out of 500. And because when you read the label on these things, it usually is going to say you have to take 3 or 4 to get 500 of elemental. So that's the deception right there, is they're trying to say that all these compounds are going to be helpful. And they may say, well, you know, the taurate part, that's good for the heart. I see this differential. The orotate, probably heart as well. Citrate for sleep. I don't know what they're saying. They're making it up, because what you want is magnesium. What you want is elemental magnesium in the ionic state. And what's a miracle, revolutionary, never before developed about our REMAG is that we have a stabilized form of ionic magnesium that's fully absorbed into the cells. The absorption studies of minerals is usually what's absorbed into the bloodstream. Yeah, what I'll do is I'll go over a little bit of our study. Study highlights from our research director, Dr. Taylor Wallace, and actually maybe I'll have to open up my email and send this to Melody Rose, because you can go and read this paper, and it's quite amazing what we've been able to develop here with a clinical trial with humans, showing the absorption of one dose of REMAG, which is 300 milligrams in a teaspoon. The name of the study is Circulating Ionized Magnesium as a Measure of Supplement Bioavailability, a placebo crossover blinded controlled study. It's in the journal Nutrients. So Taylor put this together. He wrote the paper, and then he released these main points. So IMAG, which is an ionized magnesium test, it's a blood test. It's the better marker for magnesium. Serum magnesium is bound up and not usable. Magnesium ions are available to use in the cells. So that's the basis of our revolutionary REMAG. Number 2, using a molecular size analyzer called the Malvern Zetasizer Nano ZS, we confirmed that the majority of the particle size, in 98% of REMAG formulation, is in the picometer range. The test was repeated 3 times, and they did that because they didn't believe it. They didn't believe that ions could be stable, but that's the process that our chemist does with our minerals, stabilizes the ions. REMAG goes to the ionized magnesium state and is not bound up. Its small size allows it to be absorbed higher up in the GI tract and avoid the laxative effect. Magnesium citrate and magnesium oxide will eventually be ionized somewhat, but they revert back to a compound state immediately and therefore don't have as high an absorption efficiency. Number 5, elevated ionized magnesium was measurable in the blood of human subjects within 2 to 4 hours. Our head of research, Dr. Taylor Wallace, said that this fluctuation with one single dose is very important. He said he would not have anticipated mineral electrolyte levels changing with one single dose. 6, clinical investigations have demonstrated that ionized magnesium, but not serum magnesium, is depressed in a number of clinical conditions such as migraine, diabetes, type 2 diabetes, patients with asthma, and women with high-risk pregnancies. So the serum magnesium isn't diagnosing them before it becomes a real problem. whereas an IMAG test, ionized magnesium test, will diagnose a deficiency. So we just don't have a good testing system. Number 7, a subclinical magnesium deficiency can occur when serum magnesium levels are within the lower reference range. Therefore, serum total magnesium levels may not be sufficient for diagnosis of deficiency. So there, what do you think, Ginny?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm absolutely thrilled about that study. It just thrills me to my core every time I even hear the words, because I know what it means and I know what it meant to us.
Yeah.
And I know why we did what we did and invested in everything that we've done, including Certified for Sport, NSF, the National Safety Foundation, now certifying our products for sports competitions. Carolyn, out of the 230,000 dietary supplements that are on the market today, do you know only 2% of those make it to that degree of sports certification? We are within the top 2% of all dietary supplements here sold in the United States. I mean, let's give ourselves a heart.
Wow.
Would never have done that for a pill or powder. By the way, neither would any of our competitors. You know why? Because they know it's not worth it. Their products are useless.
Yeah.
But our Remag and our liquid minerals are the gold standard in the dietary supplement industry. And now we have the certification to go with it. And ladies and gentlemen, we just ask you to continue to partner with us and share this content, share this information, share this study, share it with your friends, families, and your doctors. And now you can share it with sports teams and clinical staff that are affiliated with athletes and athletic competitions, because we can play in any arena, including the Olympics, anywhere in this world. And you believe me, Remag will be at the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles, California. If it personally takes everything I have to get it there, it will be there. We are going to do it. So you've got the very best of what this industry has to offer to put in your body. And we can prove it clinically and we can certify it legally. It's amazing.
That's awesome. Very good. Thank you, Ginny. Thank you. Thank you. That's amazing. 2% revolutionary. Get the word out. I'm starting maybe later today or tomorrow. I'm going to go on X and start, inserting things. And like I said, if they're not talking about magnesium, you folks listening, seeing, whatever, go in there and say, why aren't you talking about Remag? Because that's what people need, require, love. Okay, any more questions before I press on?
Everybody's excited. Yeah, we've had many customers who are decathletes. That was, you're talking about Lynn Fouch. And we've got all kinds of MMA people. And we've got all kinds of athletes around us. So yes, they've been in and buzzing in and out, and bicycle riders and all kinds of other kinds of things. But to actually get this installed at a pro team the way we're going to, and to be at the Olympics, which is where we're going to be, that's going to be really exciting. And our international partners are very excited too, because they have the football in the EU and things like that they're representing it too as well.
Right. Yeah, and some of the European countries, they're happy for the NSF certification, because then that just opens the door to their whatever regulatory system. So we're happy about that. Look at all the hearts and everything I'm seeing on the side. That's so wonderful. Very good. Okay, any questions before I press on?
We shall press on.
So number 6, pros and cons of supplements, drugs, and research. We'll go to that, Rachel. The FDA apparently has declared war on natural thyroid. There's a title, I don't know, maybe it was Dr. McCullough, one of the COVID doctors. It talks about it being a medical tyranny that threatens millions. But there's a but there. when you look at thyroid and the thyroid diminishes, oftentimes in women through their pregnancies, the thyroid will be used by the fetus and drained of the nutrients to develop the fetus's thyroid. The nutrients that make thyroid hormones, there are many of them. There's tyrosine, but there's also 9 minerals. So if people don't get those minerals, they're not producing proper thyroid hormones. And when the thyroid weakens, what happens in alternative medicine and allopathic medicine, they just said, we need thyroid hormone replacement. So what the FDA is trying to do is stop the natural thyroid, like a desiccated thyroid. There's something called NT thyroid. There's been several over the years. These natural thyroids, they're standardized to a certain amount of thyroid hormone, et cetera, but somehow allopathic medicine is threatened by them and wants to stop it and just go with the synthetic thyroid. What I say, go with the minerals first. We have a multiple mineral. There are 12 minerals, but 9 of those minerals, iodine, selenium, copper, boron, molybdenum, chromium, etc. 9 minerals required for thyroid hormone production. I got off my thyroid medication. My hands are nice and toasty and have been since I started on my own mineral combination. So there's what I say when you see headlines like this, you think, yeah, we want natural thyroid, but there's usually a way to look for something deeper, the building blocks that go along with this type of information. I'll jump to something I've been noticing on supplement sites forever. There's supplements on these sites for organs and systems. This is an allopathic approach. There's on one site that I look at, and I'm not going to even say whose it is, but there's a heart support, memory support, bone support, immune support, sleep support. And it's the allopathic way of using supplements. You've got a heart problem, here's your bottle. This is what you take. So each of these categories that I just mentioned, you see how they all need magnesium. Several of them need vitamin C. So let's see what the immune support, this one, several herbs, no vitamin C, no magnesium. Bone support, they've got D3, K2, calcium, and zinc, and some collagen, no magnesium, and no vitamin C. The collagen that they're talking about, 500 milligrams, which is 0.1 teaspoons. Most collagen powders, if people are taking collagen, they tell you to use several tablespoons, 5 to 15 grams. But what you're doing, you're just buying the word collagen here. 0.1 teaspoons is not going to get you very far. Memory support, several herbs, and 4 B vitamins, but it doesn't say if they're methylated, and no magnesium. Sleep support, 2 herbs, melatonin, and L-threonine, an amino acid, no magnesium. Heart support, finally, it has some magnesium, a magnesium glycinate, and taurine, but the one capsule has 150 milligrams and no vitamin C. So you're being marketed again, here's for your heart, take the, and I'm sure some of it will help some people, but it's not the definitive therapy. It's almost like people have given up thinking that dietary supplements can help because they're using synthetics, they're using inferior ingredients, and they just kind of think this is an add-on, this is a supplement, this will make people feel good about taking something for their health. We're not in that game. We're giving you food-based, picometer sized, stabilized ion of our minerals. We're giving you things that totally support the cells in your body to make perfect cells from which everything else flows. Another marketing sleight of hand is to say your supplements are liposomal. There's one big guy on the marketplace now talking about this. So that means you're putting your supplement in a phospholipid bubble. The phospholipids is supposed to mimic the cell membrane lipid and supposedly make it be happy to be attached and be absorbed. I could not find good research showing how this happens or why it happens. I know when I took liposomal magnesium, I get the laxative effect because it was only like 100 milligrams, and I would have to take like 12 to get the dose that I needed back in the day. So look for that. I guess I call it a bit of a scam, because if you need to take enough magnesium to treat magnesium deficiency throughout your body, you may need a lot more than you can get from a liposomal product. That could end up being very expensive and be laxative because it's not a stabilized ion. And in this phospholipid bubble, are they putting the compound of whatever, of magnesium? Are they putting in a magnesium citrate or something? Now that magnesium citrate is not going to be absorbed across the cell membrane. It has to dissociate into a magnesium ion. So I don't understand the mechanism. And then the microbiome, huge topic right now. And when I listen to the experts, they really never acknowledge yeast overgrowth as a possible underlying cause. And that's a big problem, because you have to, as we said earlier, you have to recognize yeast overgrowth and treat it properly. And then I listened to Malcolm Kendrick. He's a doctor, Scottish doctor. He wrote The Great Cholesterol Con. And he's making this big declaration, and he has done for a while, that LDL cholesterol does not cause heart disease. He's against statins. And he says it's really the formation of blood clots on damaged blood vessels. He says smoking and sugar can cause this endothelial blood vessel damage. But he's missing the collagen aspect, that we need vitamin C to keep our collagen healthy and strong, to keep our arteries strong so they aren't weakened and leaky. He's missing about the calcium buildup on the cholesterol is related to magnesium deficiency. If you had enough magnesium, calcium would not exist in order to precipitate on cholesterol. So again, what damages endothelium? Yet sugar, smoking, cocaine. He said the endothelial has a thin gel-like layer that coats the inner surface of blood vessels, and that's interesting because I was trying to see if that was related to collagen development, but I'll do some more work on that. It'll be part of the vitamin C book, I'm sure. But lower your sugar, do intermittent fasting to use up excess sugar hanging around in your body and in your liver. Get your sunshine. He says sunshine stimulates nitric oxide, but so does magnesium. And talked about lipoprotein A, which is now, since we're not talking about cholesterol and LDL cholesterol, lipoprotein A has become the bad guy. What do you need for that? That's the proline and maybe the lysine to a certain extent, the two amino acids that we're putting in our next formula that will be high dose vitamin C. So there you go, Ginny. I think I'm done, and I think we're heading for the final turn.
We are. We're in the final turn. And we're going to speed by and remind everybody that all the content you could ever need in the whole wide world is at drcarolyndean.com. And that's where you're going to find Dr. Dean herself, all of her publications, which are available to you, all of the blogs, the recaps, and all the great stuff that you can hear week after week. Also, rnareset.com is Dr. Dean's product website, and that's where you'll find her proprietary formulas. As you go on there, you'll see there are not 350,000 million trillion of them. There's only that fantastic 2% of the gold standard of all the most amazing things you would ever need for your body right there for you. And also, we would never leave our family members, our pets, out of the equation. And picopets.com is also there for you. This is Artie, Sheila's dog, on the front of our website. My dog is on the front of our products. I should say Greg's dog. I shouldn't say my dog, should I? And also, our good friend Jason's dog Cooper, and of course Meg Ross' cat Aries, who we've lost since that happened, but that's all right. Mm-hmm. And many more to come. Maddie just joined us, and she has the cutest little thing. We're probably going to have to stick on a bottle. So we love our pets, and we love to treat them well, just like we love to treat ourselves well, and all our friends and family members. Remember, you can make a purchase, a gift on our website now. Don't forget that, because as you come across people and you're concerned about your health, clink, click the button. This is a gift, and get it off to them and let them have the experience that you know is the only one. eMusic, Dr. Dean got me off my crazy thyroid meds. Margaret Dean, Dr. Dean got me off my crazy thyroid meds. Yeah. This is what the body's going to do when you give it the building blocks, right, Carolyn?
Absolutely. So thank you, everybody. Keep it going.
Hearts. Goodbye, everybody. We'll be back next week.
You have been listening to Dr. Carolyn Dean, the doctor of the future. Become a member of drcarolyndean.com and get access to all her leading edge of creation information, as well as archives, webinars, and other valuable media resources. Join Dr. Dean and Ginny Almighty same time again next week.